Hey guys, Theodore Burns here for another edition of the IndyPro2000 lap walkthrough series. I believe this is week 8 and we are at Oulton Park without Britain's chicane. So this is without the first chicane, but we have the second one in there, which is Hislops chicane. So this week I was able to run a 124.610. My optimal was down a 24.464. Just couldn't quite get it all together there, for that lap. But I was pretty happy with how this 24.6 turned out. Weather and conditions for this week, same weather conditions always. 25% track usage. Built the setup on 50% usage, so it should be good in any conditions throughout the week, whatever it may throw at us. Couple notes on the setup. I thought the baseline was pretty good this week. It was just a little bit inconsistent and it wouldn't quite turn so well. So was able to make a few changes, make it the setup rotate a bit better and be a bit more reactive, especially in some of the slower speed stuff like in the chicane, the hairpin, the final corner, so forth. So I was able to pick up quite a bit of time there. So without further ado, let's take a lap around Oulton Park. And there we have the hot lap. So, starting off a little bit more in detail, coming up into turn 1, which is called Old Hall Corner. So turn 1 is a very interesting approach. It's a little bit difficult to see. We're kind of coming up over the hill. So what I'm using as a brake marker for this, I'm using this blackish banner over here on the wall. So I'm starting far left-hand side of the track, and once I get into this like Armco gap in between the white and this black banner, almost right up to this black banner, yep, right there is when I'm starting to brake. And so I'm starting my initial brake out here, and it's a pretty light, only about 40, maybe 50%, and I'm going down 2 gears into the corner. I get off the brake pretty early and start to turn the car in. So now once we're at this apex, this is really flat all the way up into the grass, and you can kind of see the little bit. You can kind of see a little bit where the tires have kind of worn it out, and it's just kind of like a dirt there. And so we can do that with this car, no problem. And so I'm going to actually kind of hang the right side tires and almost push them into like the grass here and put them right on the dirt. This will help the car rotate around the corner and allows me to get to power sooner. So you can see I end up over slowing just a little bit, so I start getting on throttle just prior to this apex, but basically want to be able to power out of that. And I'm just going to be managing the car on exit. It is sliding out here, and this out here has quite a bit of grip on it. It's kind of like a thatched pavement over the grass, and we want to make sure to keep the right side tires on the red and white curbing to avoid that 1X. So I had a little bit of extra room to go out there if I needed it on this particular lap. But I think this was purple at the time. I went back through and did 3/4 of a lap after this, and that's when I set these personal best times through the first 3 sectors. So at the time, this was a personal best through here. So it was still pretty quick. But let's watch this back through one more time, real speed from the chase camera. All right, so coming up over turns 2 is kind of this kink up over the hill here. Don't need to worry too much about 2, but 3 Cascades down here at the bottom of the hill. This is a tricky one, especially more so because there is a paved patch on exit, but it is extremely easy to pick up a 1x there. So it's something that we can't really go wide on without picking up some sort of a bit of a penalty. So as I approach, I want to start on the right hand side of the track to really open up my radius through turn 3, and kind of what I'm looking for is there's kind of like a tier down here. It's kind of like a 2-stage hill. It's kind of like this first step down, and then there's a second step down into the corner. So once I get to this first step down the hill right here, the car pitches down. That's when I'm braking. I wait for the front end to go down the hill a little bit, and then I'm going to ease into the brakes, and I'm kind of using that transition to help transfer weight onto the front tires to really help it turn into the corner, because we see there's another kind of drop off. We go down another step of the hill right here, right when we want to get to the apex curb. So we have to make sure that basically we drive in here and get the car rotated on this step here, so that we're in a good placement with a good trajectory by the time we actually land at the bottom of the hill. Because in this phase, like from the start of the curb all the way to where we want to apex it, we're not going to be able to really steer or rotate the car just because of the elevation change. So we have to make sure to really back this up and think about the exit out of here. So this is a little bit of a lighter brake again, about 40%. I'm coming down again 2 gears. I'm going to be coming all the way down to 3rd gear, and just being really patient. You see, I'm hanging just a little bit, maybe a 10% trail brake because I'm coming down the hill. I'm trying to get the left side tires onto this curbing. I don't want to go all the way onto the grass, but I want to get them touched onto this curbing just over this white line as I come around here. And basically, once I feel the car kind of land down here in this pit at the bottom of those 2 steps down, I want to get in the throttle, and you can do this pretty aggressively because we have quite a bit of steering input into the corner. I've been carrying that trail brake, trying to get the rotation. My trajectory now is pointing down onto this curb, so I can get into throttle pretty aggressively to help start to open this radius and drive myself out onto the straight. So you can see I get up into full throttle there. I get the left sides onto the curb, and now it's just managing this exit. We are kind of driving up over a little bit of a crest here, so it is going to start to slide out just a little bit. But I believe as long as you hit the red and white curbing, you do not pick up the 1x on exit. If you slide and miss this red and white curbing and end up dipping even just a tire over onto this thatch part or onto this pavement piece, that's when you will pick up the 1x. So if you get through the corner early, you end up on the red and white curbing, and you drive off with a tire onto this portion, you don't end up getting the 1x. But if you end up just sliding onto that portion, you get a 1x. And it's like, it is the most insane 1x, I think, in iRacing right here on the exit of this corner, because it's like just a tire over this white line gives it to you. It's not the center line of the car. It's a little bit ridiculous, but this was clean. In fact, I never actually had a 1x ever in my building the setup or in this entire session through this corner. So if you do go back and look at the data or something, it's all those are clean through here. But yeah, we want to keep throttle down the straight here. Because if you get a really good run on someone out of 3, you have a chance to go side by side down into turn 4. A little sketchy, but it can make it work. So let's go back through, watch this one more time in real speed. All right, so coming up to turn 4. So this was actually a mistake by me through turn 4. You want to start on the right, and you're going to need like a little breathe of throttle until you get down to the apex, and then you can drive it out. We probably could take it flat, but it pushes us way too far to the right on exit. So I want to breathe the throttle. But this mistake I did is actually I pulled a tear off here, and I drove the right side tires onto the grass here. And this ended up like slowing the car about how I would do a lift. So you see I end up taking this corner flat out through here. And this ended up costing me only about 2/100ths, but normally this corner is not flat like this. This is purely because of my mistake in in dipping the right side tires off on entry here, and this slowed the car down a bit to the point where I could make this this pretty comfortably. But you do normally through turn 4, which is Island Bend, you do normally need a little bit of a lift through there because we want to exit basically track left here because the brake zone for turn 5, which is Shell Oil's corner, comes up incredibly quickly. So yeah, let's watch back through 4 one more time, real speed, just so we can kind of see the speed you can carry through here. Yeah, and so and you can see my speed there. I was 141 going in, and I dropped down to 138 to go through the corners. That's all the lift you need. It's a very slight lift, but you can't drive it in there all the way flat. All right, so turn 5, Shell Oil's corner. This brake zone comes up incredibly quickly. So through turn 4, you end up at worst mid-track. If ideally you want to try and be a little bit left of center track. My brake marker for this, you can kind of use the end of this tire barrier here before the Armco starts. I'm kind of using this. Kind of lines up with kind of like a darker patch of pavement here. I'm not quite sure if this is a shadow or just a difference in pavement. So if it is a shadow, something to be careful of depending on time of day. But it's right about at the end of this this barrier here. I'm more using it like basically as I come through the corner, get the car settled again straight is when I'm hitting the brake. So I'm not really using a distinct reference on the track. But as you can see, once I get to the barrier there, this is a pretty heavy brake zone. So I'm up about 60% brake. I'm coming down all the way down into second gear, and I'm really starting to turn into this corner pretty early, almost kind of forcing the front end to understeer because this does have a lot of camber. There's a lot of banking. I want to drive it into the banking and really turn it down early to try and get that rotation, and then slide the car sideways into the banking. Use the track to help us carry that speed around the corner, so we can carry a lot of speed into here. But you see, I'm carrying a lot of trail brake, trying to get the right sides all the way down. I want to be right down here in this bottom lane. I don't have to be touching the red and white curbing here with the right sides, but I want to be down in this bottom lane. This is where the grip is on the bottom of the track down here. You can see I have a lot of patience coming, rotating all the way around the corner, still not getting in throttle. A lot of rotation. The front end's just understeering just a touch through here. You can kind of see it when we go back to real time. The front end's just pushing just a hair. But once I get all the way down and about halfway through this corner, which is a full 180-degree hairpin, I can start to get back in throttle, and I do so not super aggressively. It's still about 75%, and then I'm kind of hesitating and keeping it there because when we come on exit, we really rise in elevation, and the track flattens out very quickly, so it's really easy to kick the rear end around very hard. So if we get in throttle just a little bit too much too early, we'll end up here on the very flat, and the rear end will kick out. So this is one of those points, I think I mentioned in the setup notes, where the rear end can be a little bit tail happy, and specifically turn 5 is one of those spots on exit. You see this particular lap, I had to straighten my hands very quickly once I got into full throttle, but I wasn't getting a whole lot of rear slide here. But it is just something to consider because we want to get a really good run out of 5, because this leads to one of the few overtaking opportunities on the track down into the hairpin. So we want to make sure we get a good exit. We can track out, we can use this curb if we need, but we don't really want to go on to that. So let's watch back through this one more time in real speed. Alright, coming up over the straight. And now all the way down to, this is turn 7, 8, 9. This is Hislops, chicane, and into Knickerbrook corner. So we're going to do this all as one section through here. So my brake marker for this corner, I was able to push it down pretty deep. If you're confident on the brakes, you can get down almost to the 100 board as a brake marker. Otherwise, you're going to be want to brake about the 125, kind of interpolate that distance up there. You can see I'm braking just prior to that 100 board. I'm going to be coming all the way down into second gear, and I want to turn in very late because we have these tire barriers here, which will just rip corners off of the car if you're not careful. I want to turn in very late and get a very late apex on that because we have this very sharp transition back to the left through which is technically turn 8. And same thing, I'm basically driving this like a street circuit where I'm kind of turning into this tire barrier, but using the speed to actually avoid it. So if you find you're clipping into these tire barriers, try pushing that brake zone a little bit deeper, carrying a little bit more speed in, so the car naturally just understeers past it. And when I say that, I mean you still want to get this rotation, so we come out of here with a good trajectory, but we don't want to just be understeering, like end up over here in the grass, not making the corner. But it's you want to use that speed to increase the radius just past those tire barriers. So I'm going to give a little burst of throttle here to help kind of settle the car in this transition. So hands back to center, and then I turn back into the left. And it's just a little tap of the brake, just being very patient through this whole section. Get the left sides as close to that tire barrier as possible. And once I get there, it's just starting to manage the throttle on the way out. So it's about 50% throttle, getting the hands straight, and I want to end up about mid-track so I can swing it back to the left and get a good run through turn 9, which is Knickerbrook, because we do have to go up a little bit of a hill, and this starts another good overtaking opportunity. There's another hard corner in there, Druids, turn 12, but basically this starts our run for an overtaking opportunity into the final corner, which is another valid good overtaking spot on this track. So I'm going to come back over to the left-hand side, careful not to dip the tires into the grass, very easy to do. And I'm going to bail back out of the throttle. This particular lap, I end up losing about half a tenth through here. I bailed out just a little bit early, as you can see me getting back in throttle quite early, because I'm going to shortcut this corner just a little bit, and this just upsets the car a touch. Ideally, what I'm trying to do here is I want to get the right side tires just on, like basically hanging over the red and white onto the grass here. And so I come in just a little bit shallow here for my liking. And what that does just kind of hurts my run out. It gets a little upset, and I kind of end up a little bit too much onto this exit curb. You probably will end up with the left side tires onto this curb, but you don't want to go just over it like I did on this particular lap. So this particular mistake is worth about half a tenth through here, and this was just due to I lifted a little bit too early right here. You can see it's very easy to do. You see I actually checked myself on the way out from that full throttle. But I never quite go completely out of the throttle through there, because it is still you can still open up turn 9, but it's you do need just that little bit of a lift so you don't have too wide on exit. So we want to be on throttle that entire time through there, never actually completely out of it. So this is a very tricky section. I think this is where I made the most mistakes in any of my testing, so definitely one to try and work out. There's a lot of time here if you're brave. So here we go one more time in real speed. Right, coming up turns 10 and 11 up the hill. So now we're coming up to turn 12, which is Druids corner. This is an interesting one. It's very fast. It's kind of a bit of a double apex. The exit really comes up on us quickly. So for this, I'm going to be starting way on the left-hand side of the track. Again, I don't really have a great reference. Kind of this pavement transition here I'm using as like a judgment of, like, I'm a couple car widths and lengths in front of this, but I'm basically staring at the apex and kind of using my vision through the corner to dictate when to slow for this. And it's only about a 40%, just a quick stab of the brake, and I'm doing this as I turn into the corners. You see, I actually start to pitch the steering wheel into the corner first, start to load these left side tires, and that's when I start to get into the brake. I'm just going to come down one gear, down into fourth gear. And basically I'm trying to get the left side tires loaded very consistently so I can turn into the corner. I'm going to get the right sides down, just kissing this curb at this first apex. I don't want to ride up on it because it will upset the car, because again, I'm trying to keep, basically what I'm thinking, my thought process is keep the left side tires loaded, keep them loaded, get this car rotated. So I'm going to coast across this first apex, and then I'm going to get aggressively into the throttle, but I'm going to keep the steering lock into it so I can steer all the way onto the second apex. The elevation's not really helping us here. Once we get to the second apex, if we kept this throttle in, we start to drive into the hill. That starts to give the front tires grip, and the car really starts to turn now. So this is one of those, don't be afraid of that little bit of understeer. Just keep the foot in it. It probably will come back. If you've set that up correctly and gotten those two apexes, it will come back to you, and you will end up just on the red and white curbing here, not too far over. If you do end up over here in the grass, just keep the hands straight out of the pedals, come back on. You'll end up losing a lot of time, probably a spot or two. If you go just a little bit wide and dip the tires in the grass, that does slow you down quite a bit out of this corner, which is 12 is very important because we have our last overtaking opportunity in the final corner coming up. So let's watch this one more time in real speed. All right, and then coming up to the final corner on the track, which is turn 13, Lodge corner. So coming up to this, my brake marker for this is a couple of car lengths after the turn board. Again, not a really great reference. It's maybe 1-2 car lengths after, and this is the heaviest brake zone on the track. So full threshold brake, 70-80%, going to be coming all the way down into second gear before turning into the corner. And this is a very late turn into the corner because we are kind of coming downhill and I'm turning up into the hill. So I'm really aiming to apex this curb as late as possible, right here, right where it meets the grass. And you can see by my trajectory, I've gotten the car nice and rotated up for the hill. So now I want to start getting on throttle before I crest this hill to squat the rear of the car, start getting the drive out. So you see I'm at 50% throttle. Now once I hit the hill, I'm going to get my hands very straight because the rear of the car will get very light. And you see I'm almost countersteering just a little bit there. And this is mostly just because the entire car is floating over. It's not actually like oversteering on me. It's just the entire car is now floating up over the hill. And so I'm just trying to stay ahead of it with this correction here. It's not pure, power down oversteer. And as it comes down and lands, that's when I get in the full throttle and drive out of the corner and up to the line. So yeah, this corner is a lot of fun once you get it right, and you can really roll a lot of speed into it. But it's all about getting to that very late apex to really get the good run up the hill. So watch this one more time in real speed. And there we have a 124.610 across the line. So sorry for the late video. Just got back from barber this morning from work, but happy to get out there before the week switches over. So I will be out there on track this week. So good luck to you guys, and hope to see you out there.